Good morning. I am Rubina. Today is Sunday, October 4th, 2020. President of Azerbaijan tells Armenia to leave our territory, and then the war will stop. President Ilham Aliyev of Azerbaijan has said Armenia and its military forces need to leave our territory, and then the war will stop, and then the conflict will come to an end. In an interview with Al Jazeera, President Aliyev went on to say that once the war is over, maybe sometime later, people of Azerbaijan and Armenia can again live together in peace. Aliyev, however, gave no indication that a cessation of hostilities would end anytime soon, adding, "I think Armenian government overestimated their so-called importance on global arena, overestimated the possible international support to them, and made very serious mistakes, provoking us, attacking us, and now they are suffering the very serious defeat." Long simmering tensions between Armenia and Azerbaijan have flared up in the contested Nagorno-Karabakh region in recent days, with both sides accusing each other of attacking civilians amid reports of casualties. The neighboring countries have long been at odds over the mountainous territory, which is situated within the borders of Azerbaijan, and fought a war over it that ended in 1994. Although the conflict finished with a Russian-brokered ceasefire, military skirmishes between the two sides are not uncommon. Further evidence has emerged this week of rebels from Syria being recruited to fight as mercenaries in the conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia over the disputed enclave. But both Azerbaijan and Turkey have denied the presence of Syrian rebels in the conflict, something that Aliyev maintained in his Al Jazeera interview, adamant that no such fighters were in the country. Aliyev urged French President Emmanuel Macron to provide proof that Syrian mercenaries were fighting in Nagorno-Karabakh, saying, "He made the statements without any evidence. Let him give us evidence. Let him give us proof." Armenian and Azerbaijani forces have been engaged in intense fighting over the breakaway Nagorno-Karabakh region, scuttling diplomatic efforts to reach a ceasefire to end the latest conflict that has killed hundreds of people. Shushan Stepanyan, spokeswoman for the Armenian Defense Ministry, said on Saturday that Azerbaijan had launched a new large-scale offensive, which was repelled by Armenia-backed forces who then launched a counter-push. "Heavy fighting is ongoing on other flanks," she wrote on Facebook. Meanwhile, Azerbaijan's defense ministry said its troops had destroyed a large amount of military equipment belonging to the Armenian military. During the present day, the troops of the Azerbaijani army, successfully advancing in the intended directions, took possession of new strongholds and carried out a cleanup of the territory from the enemy, the ministry said early on Saturday. The leader of the breakaway province, Arak Harutyunyan, said he was heading to the front and that the final battle for the region had begun, while Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan said his nation was facing a historic threat. "We are facing possibly the most decisive moment in our millennia-old history," Pashinyan said in an address to the nation on Saturday. "We all must dedicate ourselves to a singular goal: victory." World powers have been calling for a ceasefire since Sunday, when fighting over the region, which is officially part of Azerbaijan, broke out. On Friday, Armenia's foreign ministry said it was prepared to work with international mediators, France, Russia, and the United States to reach a ceasefire with Azerbaijan. While the three countries called for an end to hostilities, Turkey has staunchly supported its ally Azerbaijan and has repeated that what it called Armenian occupiers must withdraw. Superficial demands for an immediate end to hostilities and a permanent ceasefire will not be useful this time, Mevlut Cavusoglu, Turkey's foreign minister, was quoted as saying by Turkish state-run Anadolu news agency. Both Azerbaijan and Turkey have repeatedly denied the involvement of Turkish forces in the fighting, as well as assertions by Armenia, Russia, and France that Syrian rebels are fighting on the Azeri side. Azerbaijan has also hit back, saying ethnic Armenians from the diaspora had been deployed or were on their way to operate as foreign terrorist fighters on the ethnic Armenian side. Armenian sources have put the death toll from fighting in the region, where about 145,000 people live, at more than 200, while Azerbaijan most recently said that 19 civilians had been killed and 60 wounded. Al Jazeera's Bernard Smith, reporting from Stepanakert, the main city in Nagorno-Karabakh, said the mood has darkened considerably over the last 24 hours. That is because the city has been hit twice now with a series of attacks of large-scale weaponry in 2 episodes, and that is the first time that this has happened here since the war ended in 1994, he said. We've seen more women and children trying to leave the town and more civilians sheltering in bunkers. Meanwhile, Al Jazeera's Sinem Kosioglu, reporting from the Azerbaijani town of Barda, said people displaced by the fighting were sheltering in public buildings such as schools. There are no places that they can stay. That's why most of the public buildings are spared for the internally displaced, she said. Up to 5 families sharing 1 room, sharing 1 bathroom. They are saying they didn't have anything with them except for the clothes and their shoes, and they are waiting to go back when the attacks finish. More troops into the conflict area. In an interview with Al Jazeera, Pashinyan said Armenia is the guarantor of security in Nagorno-Karabakh. Azerbaijan launched a direct attack on Nagorno-Karabakh, and Armenia has certain obligations to provide the security for the region, the Prime Minister said. The September 27 Azerbaijan offensive began with shelling of civilian settlements, and this is a fact we need to acknowledge. When there is an attack, the very first task is to protect from that aggression, after which only it is possible to talk about negotiations. For his part, President of Azerbaijan Ilham Aliyev said Armenia has not been interested in peace for the past 3 decades, after ethnic tensions increased following the collapse of the Soviet Union. They want to occupy our lands forever, he told Al Jazeera's Kosioglu. If Armenia demonstrated goodwill and acted in compliance with many international resolutions, the conflict would have been resolved long ago. Azerbaijan and Armenia previously fought a war over Nagorno-Karabakh in the late 1980s and early 1990s as they transitioned into independent countries amid the collapse of the Soviet Union. The war, which ended with a fragile peace treaty in 1994, is estimated to have killed tens of thousands of people, including more than 1,000 civilians. Armenia says it was Azerbaijan that reopened the conflict by launching a major offensive on September 27, while Baku says it was forced to respond to provocations by the other side. Thanks for watching TV Kabar News Studio.